welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm coming at you with an interesting video for you. Today I want to talk about the MSR Mini Works ceramic water filter. Okay, you can see that I have it right here in this stuff sack. Let me open this up real quick. So there is the water filter right there. I'm going to put all this other stuff aside. This is the MSR Mini Works. This is a great water filter. This is a ceramic style filter. Now you're probably wondering, what am I going to do in this video? Well, what I want to talk about is the simple task of replacing the ceramic filter inside. Now sometimes these filters last for a long time and sometimes they don't. And that really depends on what type of water you're filtering, how frequently you're using it, and things of that nature. So to replace the filter, you obviously need a new ceramic filter. And if you can check right here, I'll show you the specs there. It's a 0.02 micron filter. This filter fits on the old ones, and this one actually filters a little bit faster. The flow rate is approximately 1 liter per minute, they say. And that's approximately 32 ounces, just a little bit over that. So I need my element, and last but not least, to do this, some good old petroleum jelly, Vaseline, something like that is really good to have. So let's get started. Hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, so here is the replacement filter cartridge. This fits, you can see right here that it says it fits all MSR Waterworks and Mini Works microfilters, right? This is what you need. Here's a little bit of the specs on it. You can pause if you want to read this. There's some information right there. It talks about what it's capable of doing, things of that nature. But more importantly, let's open this up and see what's inside. Look at that. Pull that right out. Set that box aside. Looks like you got a little bit of an owner's manual, if you will, instruction booklet. Put that over there. This is what we need right here. This is a new greeny weenie and a new gauge. And what this gauge is for is to check the filter element and see if it's still good or not. Now, here is what we really need. The new filter element itself. Make sure that when you pull this off, that it has the new replacement O-ring. Now, you might be able to get by with the old one, but since you're replacing the filter, you might as well replace the O-ring. Keep the old one. Try not to get oily hands on this element, because if you got a bunch of oil and stuff on your hands, you don't want that in your element. Now, this measurement is to check the gauge of the filter. And if this thing was to fit over, and especially if it fit over loosely, that's a gauge telling you that your filter should be replaced. So let's set that back for a second. You can see that I have my old gauge right here, right there. Got to take this cap off the bottom. We're going to slowly open up this pump. This is really tight because I had it stored. Look at that, bunch of junk, bunch of dirt and debris. So from the bottom of the filter, I'm going to push inside with my thumb, and I'm going to pop the old ceramic element out. You can see that it has the O-ring, and the O-ring is still in good shape, and it has the top O-ring. Now this new filter does not have the top O-ring. See that? The old one did, the new one don't. Doesn't need that new O-ring on the top. However, it does have the O-ring on the bottom. But like I said a minute ago, I'm going to set both of those O-rings aside, and I'm going to take a little bit of this Vaseline, petroleum jelly if you will, just a little dab. I'm going to doctor up this new O-ring. Just going to kind of lube it up a little bit and make it nice and pliable. I don't want to go too heavy on the petroleum jelly, but you do need a little bit. Try not to get any on the filter element itself. You can see I got a little bit on there, but it's not going to hurt it too much. So try to avoid that. From here, I'm going to take this little pin right here off. I'm going to just kind of push these things together. Bear with me. As you push them together, they close, and then you can pop them through. Kind of hard to do because my hands are slippery with all this petroleum jelly on them. See that? Once I push that through, that'll release the handle. And you're probably wondering, why do you need to release this handle pin? Because I want to push this through, just like so. Now let's pull this out. And what I really want to do is I want to make sure that this O-ring right here has a little bit of petroleum jelly on it as well. Again, it's not too much, folks, just a little bit. Keep that nice and lubed up, and that'll help this filter function very well. You can see that when I pop this thing back, put everything back together, bear with me. You want to check your umbrella valve down here. Put a little petroleum jelly on this. Just a little bit. We're just lubing everything up, making sure everything's nice and pliable. This just helps the rubber last. I've had this filter a long time. Okay, so you'll take your rag and you'll just kind of clean everything. You don't want a lot of excessive petroleum jelly, you just want a little bit. This portion right here, we're going to pull this out, unscrew this real quick. There's going to be a little ball and a little spring. See that little ball there? I'm going to try this ball. And you guessed it, a little bit of petroleum jelly. This just, like I said, it just keeps this stuff alive. Drop that ball in there with the little petroleum jelly. See that? Clean this up. There's an O-ring on the lip here. See that? Right here, there's this O-ring. I want to make sure that that one has a little bit on it. So I'm just going to kind of pull that O-ring off briefly. Just pulling it away. And I'm going to get it away just so I can get some petroleum jelly wrapped around that. Again, it doesn't take a lot. This is a pretty simple process. This is just to help everything go together real well. Make sure that the ball's inside. Tighten this in. Get a good seal. Check it again. And put your finger over the hole and pull. You feel the pump come back. See that vacuum it creates? That tells me that we have a good seal. So that portion is ready to go. Now I'm going to just briefly clean up this housing. There's an O-ring right here. You see this O-ring popped off? Let's go ahead and pop this O-ring off. Let's run this through and clean it. Just going to clean this up a little bit. Set that down. Clean this housing a little bit more. If you're wet inside, just go ahead and clean that. Stick your rag in there. We're basically, for the lack of a better term, doing a quick rebuild to our water pump. Again, more petroleum jelly. I got a little bit excessive there. That's alright. Any excess is not going to hurt nothing. We're going to put this baby right there. Just like so. Got a little dirt in there. Wipe off the rest that was on my hands. Now it's time to take the new element and we're going to put it in this housing. Now you see this element has a hole in it. That hole is the bottom, and the bottom of the housing is the housing that's got the inner threads. So I'm just going to drop this right down in the housing, just like so. You see that it kind of fits right there. Nice and tight. Everything's good. I don't need this upper O-ring like the old one had. See, the old one had an upper O-ring and a lower O-ring. Don't need that. From here, because I've already lubricated all of these threads, this will thread on very nicely. I just want to thread this thing on. Doesn't have to be crazy or anything like that. Just like that. And that filter is about ready to go. See that suction that we created, that vacuum? by putting my thumb over that ball. That's what you want. Now I'm going to take my new gauge and slide it right there, because I don't know if this new gauge is the same size as the old gauge or not. Kind of looks like it is, but in either case I'm going to go with the new one. Now the old filter element is still okay by the gauge. You can see that the gauge doesn't even fit over it. It's got quite a bit of life left. And what I want to do is I want to boil this thing, and I'm going to boil it real good for at least 5 minutes, and that'll kill any bacteria, any viruses or anything that might be on this filter. And then I'm going to let it sit for about 5 or 6 days to dry. And this will go with me as a backup along with these old O-rings, because there's nothing wrong with these. They're fine. Nothing wrong at all. When you boil this element, make sure you take the O-rings off of the element. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, our filter is pretty well ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and put this protective cap back on, make sure everything's clean. I don't want to have any dirt in here or anything like that. So I'm just making sure that's clean. I'm going to put that protective cap on, and because this filter is brand new and it's dry, it'll be ready to go on my next trip. Everything's going to be ready to go, lubed up. We basically just rebuilt this whole thing. So it's set, it's ready to go. I'm going to put it back in my stuff sack, just like this. You can see that in here I still have my old greeny weenie. And you might be wondering what these greeny weenies are for. Well, when you get any kind of contaminants, any dirt or debris or anything like that, you want to bring this to some fresh water preferably and just kind of scrub it off. And what that'll do is that'll open up the fiber of the pores here, and it'll allow the filter to allow water through again. But you want to do that underwater. I like to do it after a trip, and I do it under my kitchen sink. If you have some filtered water available, that would be ideal, but sometimes you don't. But in either case, that's what that greeny weenie's for. So I'm going to leave all this stuff out and let it dry, and we're set. We're ready to go on our next trip. So everybody, I want to say thank you for watching my MSR Mini Works, how to change your ceramic element. Please feel free to like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel if you like the content that you see. And I want to thank you again for all the support and all the kind words that you guys leave me. So until next time, have a beautiful day. Now go out there and maintain your MSR Mini Works. Life is good. Bye-bye.